Here we go. Oh my gosh. Hi everybody. Happy Wednesday. And I apologize for the delay. I didn't realize that the 8 o'clock Zoom was going to go a little bit longer. So I popped on for a second and then I popped off and then I had some technical difficulties. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to join me. And as you're popping on, I'd love to hear how you're doing, how you're feeling. If this is your first shred and you're already in the midst of it or you're about to begin. Yeah, feel free to just comment, post any questions that you may have as I'm going through some of this information. And in the meanwhile, I would love to just hear how you're doing. I personally am loving this ER shred and what I'm seeing for so many people that are feeling amazing. And you know, we've always gotten great results with the Isagenix products, which is why I'm still here almost 17 years later. But this has just reignited so many of us. And for those who are new, it's just an amazing way to really get your body re-energized, get lean, get healthy, and just to feel amazing, because that truly is our birthright. So Tara, on day 10, awesome. Okay, great. Okay, good. So you're going to be reintroducing. Robin, doing great, feeling great. Fabulous. I love it. I love, love, love seeing people really doing well and finding that they're not hungry and the cravings are gone. And what's really super exciting for me is that Glenn is, he's on fire. He typically doesn't have a lot of willpower, and he's just, like, I can't even explain it. So that just makes me so happy, and it makes me so happy to hear how every one of you are doing. Hi, Shelley. So a lot of you are concerned. You're either not quite through with your initial ER shred, or maybe you've done a couple and not sure how to navigate beyond. So that's really what I wanted to come on and talk to you about, which is really, Mike's doing great, love it, which is really important for you to know how to, like, what to do next, right? What do you do after the 11-day ER shred? And obviously, this is an amazing opportunity. One of the most brilliant things about this is the elimination part. We're eliminating so many of the inflammatory foods, so many foods that so many of us may be sensitive to. Maybe we react, we're intolerant to those foods, and it's messing with our metabolism. It's messing with our health, with our balance, and it's creating inflammation, all kinds of other negative things in our body. So when we go on this 11-day ER shred, that elimination part is really giving us an opportunity to see clearly the difference when we remove those foods. So let's see, Ruth, starting shred 2 after 10 days, just use shake, meat shake with one other food each day. Okay, cool. So let me just say this. There's going to be a lot of different ways that many of you will navigate. And so I don't want to say there's a right and a wrong way, because there isn't. And the biggest thing that we're always going to emphasize here is to be more of an intuitive eater. So just because someone says, oh, this food is great and it's healthy, well, it may not feel good in your body. And for every single one of us, if we really tune in, we know before we even put a food in our mouth whether it's right for us. Now, some of us just aren't really in touch. We're not clear enough with that. But if you tap in, believe me, you know. But if you don't know, that's okay, right? And after you do the 11-day ER shred, that's when you're going to be more in tune. Those signals are going to be clearer. You're going to know. So like I said, it's this golden opportunity to really get in touch with which foods are right for you and which foods that you may want to just be honest with yourself. They're not good, they're not healthy, they make you feel horrible, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, and then you have to make the decision whether you want to continue to include those foods in your life, right? At some point, you may decide, like I did many years ago, that so many foods, that they're just not worth it. It's not worth feeling bad. It's not worth being tired and not being able to think straight and gaining weight so easily and feeling bloated and, just all of those negative symptoms that often come along with eating foods that we're reactive to. So the intuitive part comes from like, okay, now we know, and then we just have to decide on our own, right? So I always say there's, foods aren't good or bad. Yes, there are foods that are healthier, maybe less healthy, more healthy, in general, right? We want to always really focus on whole foods, nutritious foods, but it's more about cause and effect. When we eat a food, how is it making us feel? And so, like I said before, you can eat really healthy, wholesome food, but it may not feel right in your body. It may have a negative effect in your body. So these are the kinds of things that, we'll be talking about. But I want to talk about reintroducing, especially for those of you that are going into the holidays and maybe you're a little concerned, how are you going to do Thanksgiving? How are you going to do whatever holidays that you're going to be celebrating, the parties, the alcohol, the sweets, right? So the one thing I'll say is, always proceed with caution and always really try to respect and honor your body. We don't want to do this and then go into, eating too many of the wrong foods, too much sugar and alcohol and things over the holiday season or any time for that matter where we're going to get ourselves sick. Now more than ever, we all know that taking care of our physical body and making our health our number one priority is critical, and to really strengthen our immune system and to just do the right thing for our body, to honor and respect our body. It is the vehicle that brings us around in this life and allows us to, live to our fullest potential. But if we don't have our health and we're eating things that are making us feel horrible and taking us out of the game, what's the point? How enjoyable is that, right? And I love food and I love, everything about, those types of festivities. But I've come to a point in my life, actually many years ago, thanks to Isogenics, where I don't abuse myself with food anymore. And it's a wonderful thing. Okay, so let me just see. Let's see, Jesse, I break foods into sometimes foods and all the time foods. Oh, very, very cool. And it says on this iPad, see more. And then I just got to try to shoot. I'll have to, oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's great. Sometimes foods and all the time foods. I like that. I actually like that. And yeah, it doesn't mean we have to be like perfect and never eat anything that's, no, but it's just really, again, honoring and respecting our body and knowing that it is cause and effect. So, a couple things that I want to go over. First of all, again, that's the opportunity when you're coming off that 11-day ER shred that you're really like clear. You just eliminated all of those inflammatory type foods. And now it's like, okay, now what? Now for many of you that, maybe you really just, you're feeling amazing and you just want to stick with this type of eating. And maybe you want to do some back-to-back shreds, right? You want to go back to your shake days and then maybe for 5 days or more and then do another 2-day cleanse and maybe continue doing that for a couple of cycles or more. And that's cool. I personally feel, and Jesse, if you disagree, please chime in, but I personally feel, and I know that there are some things out there now that we don't really need vegetables. I don't buy that. I think we need a little bit more balance. I do. And so I really believe the 11-day ER shred was not meant to be like, that's all you do. I think we just really need to have a little more balance. So maybe, vegetables and proteins and these healthy fats. I think that's cool. Do you want to incorporate fruits and whole grains? And, that's up to you. I mean, I love nuts and seeds and legumes and all that. But again, we just have to stay intuitive to how is it feeling in our body. So Veronica says, how often can we do the ER shred? Well, I think probably, there's a lot of opinions on that, and it depends on the individual and what your goals are. But, I think doing something like this for everybody, like once a season, like 4 times a year, to just really, like eliminate, reset, because our bodies change and there may be, different things going on at different times. So once a season, I think, is wonderful. But for those of you that are really on the journey to get your body leaner and healthier and more rebalanced, you can stay on this. You can. I mean, as far as how much cleansing, I don't think it's a good idea to cleanse 2 days every week. I think at some point it's better to change things up. Maybe do a 2-day cleanse every couple of weeks. And again, on your shake days, still incubate your shakes, still use the bone broth, still eat those meals that we're eating. You can still enjoy the steak and, the grass-fed steak and the other, healthy meats and grass-fed butter and all that. I do think it's good to incorporate a little bit of, variety, again, incorporating the veggies. And I said this the other night when Glenn and I were on the live. The biggest recipe for disaster is to get used to eating this way and then adding in all the starches and the sugars on top of it. That is not okay. So just be aware of that, right? This is a completely healthy, there's so many studies and there's documentaries you can watch. I posted Fat Fiction, there's many of them. There's all kinds of really great resources so that you can really feel comfortable eating this way, eating all of these saturated fats and eating high cholesterol foods and it not having any negative impact on our cholesterol levels, on cardiovascular disease. In fact, it's the opposite. When we take the sugars and the starches out like we're doing, we take especially the refined sugars and all of those excess carbohydrates, we're going to be in a much better place. So Shelley, legumes and nuts, so inflammatory. Yeah, so legumes and nuts for some people are amazing, healthy, feels great, and for Shelley, no. So you got to tune in. So Kelly does really well on the cleanse days, but now not so good. When she incubates the shake, she gets more gassier. Okay, interesting. How do you add veggies in? I miss my salad. Okay. So I'm gonna go through this so that you guys really get this. The whole point is to be empowered. Yes, exactly. Yeah, let me just read. I'm sorry about this iPad. I can't see the whole comment, and I don't want to miss it, and I might have to read it later because I don't want to take up too much time. But yes, it's not meant to be all that you do. So Jen, how do you add in veggies? I miss my salad. Yeah, so in general, vegetables are not inflammatory foods. Salads are not inflammatory foods. Now, it's depending on what you put on the salad and what you're putting in, if you're adding, all kinds of other stuff, that's a whole different story. So generally speaking, there's going to be foods that you, again, might intuitively think might be a problem for you. Maybe bringing in cheese, maybe bringing in nuts, maybe bringing in, a piece of bread, could be sprouted bread or a healthier type of bread, but maybe you're still like, a little concerned. So what I would suggest after you come off of an 11-day ER shred, I want you to really stay in tune. And it's best if you choose one food at a time. So let's say you have a thought about a certain food that you're concerned about. So eat a pretty good portion of that food, and it's easier if it's a simple like let's say, for example, bananas, right? So if you're wondering about bananas, well, have a banana as opposed to banana bread, right? Banana is banana. Banana bread has all kinds of other things in it. So if you're trying to test something out, it's going to be easier when it's simple and it's just one ingredient, or simpler as opposed to something that has a lot of different ingredients. Like if you have a whole meal, you may not know what you're reacting to. And this is for people that really want to tune in. So it literally takes about 72 hours to get an accurate read on whether something is going to cause a reaction, because we have delayed sensitivities as well as immediate responses. So sometimes it could actually take a couple of days for your body to react to something you had, a couple days ago, right? All of a sudden you're feeling these types of symptoms. So, and this is the long way, and I'm going to give you a much easier way to do this. But in this way that I'm talking about, you pick one food at a time. You have a good portion of it, and then you wait 72 hours and you look for any kind of reaction. And it could be immediate or it could be delayed. So, are you feeling achy? Are you feeling bloated? Swollen hands and fingers? Any kind of digestive issue, change in your bowel movements, again, gas, bloating, any kind of like indigestion, nasal congestion, if you get like stuffed up or runny nose, if you feel tired, if you feel mood swings, irritability, there's so many ways that our bodies can react to food. So you want to tune in. Now, if you have mood swings, does it mean it's from the food? No. You may have had a bad day. Maybe someone's annoying you at work, or maybe something else is going on, but it could be, right? So you just want to tune in. You want to be aware. You want to tune into how a food, may have made you feel. So that awareness is really going to make a big difference. Now, if you wait 72 hours and you didn't have any symptoms, chances are good. Now move on to another food. Now, again, this is the slow way. I want to give you another way in a moment. If you do have a reaction and it's really clear, then you want to just eliminate it for at least a couple of months and then maybe reintroduce it again. But I want you all to be honest with yourself, because if you love something, like, oh my God, I can't wait to have a piece of garlic bread or something, but you know that it's not going to jive with you. You know that when you eat bread, you feel horrible, but you're going to test it out anyway. And then you feel crappy. You can't think straight. You're tired. Maybe you get a little depressed. Food used to mess me up. Depression, oh my God, my well-being was so low from food. Tired, like I was just like, this was many, many years ago, but it's still so clear to me. So be honest with yourself. If that's what the food is doing to you, is it worth it? I mean, is it worth having a piece of bread? To me, there's no question about it. It's just not worth it. So start to think with this. Okay, so I want to give you, again, like if something really sets you back, before you introduce another food, you want to wait until you feel normal again. So let's say it's like, let's give the banana example. I had the banana, feel terrible. I'm, bloated. I'm, not feeling right. So you say, okay, no more bananas. I'm going to hold off with them. I'll try it again in a couple months or whatever. Wait until you feel back to normal again before you introduce another food, right? You want to like kind of go back to baseline. So this is like the slow process of reintroducing. But again, I want to give you a much better, much quicker, easier way to figure it out. So there is something called the Coca, named after the doctor that created this about 40 years ago. His first name is Arthur. So Dr. Arthur Coca, he was a very distinguished, immunologist, pioneer kind of guy, brilliant doctor. And he created the Coca pulse test. And it's based on the fact that if we eat a food that our bodies are sensitive to or reactive to, it's going to stress our body. And the way that our body will respond is by our pulse rate increasing. Okay, so, and this is a very, very accurate way. Now, some of you may be familiar with muscle testing, which is another way to check the body to see how your body's responding. If you introduce a food and muscle testing would weaken the muscle, that would indicate that that food is weakening your body. So in this situation, the pulse test is actually increasing your pulse. So I wrote some notes because I want to make sure that I say this clearly to you. So what you'd want to do is finish the ER shred, and now it's time to reintroduce foods. And you can do, again, one food at a time, but you would sit and relax, just sit and relax. And you would take your pulse for 1 minute. So just sit, relax, take a couple deep breaths, and then take your pulse. And for 1 minute. And you don't want to do 15 seconds and multiply it by 4. It's really important that you do 60 seconds. If you have one of those little, testers, whatever it's called, pulsometers, whatever, that would be easier. But, just, hey, it's easy enough to take your pulse either, on your neck or on your wrist. And then what you're going to do is you're going to place the food that you're testing. You're going to put it on your tongue. You're not going to swallow it. You can chew it a little bit. You put it on your tongue and you let it sit there for 30 seconds. And then you take your pulse again for 1 minute. Right? So far, you take your pulse, like your baseline pulse, and then you put the food on your tongue. You can chew it, but you don't want to swallow it. 30 seconds. Take your pulse again for 1 minute. Now, and then you spit the food out. You're not going to swallow the food at that point. You spit it out. When you take your pulse the second time, if your pulse has increased 6 to 8 beats higher, then it's clearly a sensitivity. It's actually a very accurate way to test. Okay, now, there's a lot more to the Coca pulse test. Like, basically, Dr. Coca recommends, for those of you that are really sensitive and really want to dive in, and either way, it's a really good idea to food journal, right? To keep a journal, and that way you can really get in touch with how foods are affecting you. But with the actual Coca pulse test, you would be literally checking your pulse 14 times a day. So first thing when you wake up in the morning, before each meal, 30 minutes after each meal, 60 minutes after each meal, 90 minutes after each meal, and then before bed. And the reason why is because if you have your pulse increase 30 minutes after the meal, chances are it's reactions to sugars and refined carbs. If it's 60 minutes, it's more of a reaction. So again, you would check it again. If it increases 60 minutes later, more than likely it's a complex carb that you ate. And if it's 90 minutes after, chances are more likely it's a protein that you ate in that meal. So you can get really into the nitty-gritty details of this. And if you want to dive in, just do a Google search on the Coca pulse test. But for you guys that are just really curious about introducing things, you don't have to go through all that. Keep a food journal. I think that's a really good idea. But again, you're just going to, one food at a time, you're going to put it on your tongue. After you take your baseline pulse, you're going to put it on your tongue, hold it there 30 seconds, spit it out. Before you spit it out, you're going to take your pulse for a minute, spit it out, rinse your mouth. And then when your pulse goes back to baseline, then you can test another food. Okay, so is that clear? Let me know if there's any questions out there. I'm just rambling away here. Okay, so Shelley asked about Thanksgiving, and we will address that in a moment. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so remember, 6 or more points higher in your pulse, definite sensitivity. What do you want to do with those foods? You want to avoid them. You want to honor and respect your body. Like Jessie said, we want to empower you guys to know what's right and what's what's going to be helpful and good for you to move forward with your health, to continue to feel great. Some of you guys are feeling amazing. It's so amazing. You want to continue to feel amazing. You want to keep becoming the best, healthiest version of yourselves, and we can do that with these products. We can do it. With this system, with this plan, with this program, we can do it. But we don't want to go back to our old ways. We don't want to go back to doing things that are going to be working against us, especially when we're really wanting to reach some goals, right? And hey, holidays, you can enjoy, you can have fun, you can have some sugar, have some alcohol, but to a point, and again, it's cause and effect. So how do you want to feel? If it's worth it, cool. By all means, you can always do another shred, right? So hopefully this is all making sense. Okay. Now, let me see. As far as Thanksgiving goes, guys, wait, let me just see. Tina, my resting heart rate in the past 10 days have been so much lower. Yeah, isn't that interesting? And don't you guys feel like calmer? Like, I mean, it's less stress. When you're cleaning up your diet and taking out and eliminating these foods, it takes the stress away from your body. So, of course, our body's going to function better. You're going to feel so much better in so many different ways. People are sleeping better and noticing all kinds of wonderful things. So let's go back to Thanksgiving. So for Thanksgiving, again, it's going to be a choice. Now, if you want to stick with the, steak and butter and, meat and all that, you can do that. I mean, you can have turkey, you can have whatever the protein foods are. I say, have the veggies. If you want to indulge, it's always going to be up to you. If you want to have that day and have it be a cheat day or flex day or whatever you want to call it, enjoy. But if you know that it's going to, derail you and it's just not, and you just want to stay strong, then just modify. Have the protein, have the veggies. Do your thing. If you're going to someone's home, and I know a lot of people are, it's like a crazy year for Thanksgiving. You're going to make good choices. It's always about making good choices, right? Good decisions most of the time. And so let me just see if I'm missing any questions here. Any questions, any thoughts, anything that I'm not conveying clearly enough, please feel free to just comment. And if I miss anything, I'll go back afterwards and make sure that I get all your comments. So again, you guys have a choice. You can go, full-fledged and, take this to your goal and then have a little bit more fun with, certain foods that you miss and you can't wait to get back to. What does Jessie say? That is the key. It's all a choice. Yes. Choose to eat, to live, or yes, it really is a choice. And no shame, no guilt, no blame. That's why food isn't good or bad. Because if you eat bad food, then does that make you a bad person? And then there's all that shame and guilt and negative and forget about that. We want to be more at peace with food and more at peace with our body, right? And we want to honor our body, but we want to, we want to achieve our goals. We want to feel good. We want to feel vibrant, come alive on day 5. For some of you, it wasn't day 5. For some of you, it was longer. But, we want to have that vibrancy, that vitality. We want to feel great. And like I always say, that's our birthright. So really, guys, just honor that and enjoy, but within reason. And if something doesn't feel right, and now all of a sudden you're feeling so much better because you've eliminated so many of those sensitivity, those foods that create those sensitivities, do you want to go back to that? Do you want to feel like bloated and puffy and, do you want to feel that again? No. So, and maybe you do. I don't know, maybe you do. I shouldn't answer for you. But if you really want to continue to feel amazing, then just really, again, make the best choices most of the time without feeling deprived. And I know so many of you, the cravings are gone, the hunger's gone, you're not feeling deprived, and that's great. And you're still enjoying, you're loving, some of these foods that maybe you didn't allow yourself to have because, they've been demonized, right? So, so hopefully that kind of helped in terms of reintroducing foods after the shred. But listen, we're a team here. We work together. We want to help you. We want to continue to create value to, for all of you so that you can move forward on your health journey, whatever that is for you. And this is just an incredible tool. So we're so blessed to have this. And so I just wanted to pop in and give you that info. If there's anything I could do to help you guys, please, reach out. It's really a good idea if you do in the group to tag me if you do have a question for me, because there's so much activity here. So if you have a specific question for me, then just tag me. But there's so many other brilliant minds here. Not that I have a brilliant mind, but I'm saying like so many people that know the answers, even more so than I do, because again, I'm fairly new to this particular program. So I'm learning from Jessie and Sean and Bob and, Susan, all these wonderful people. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. And again, please reach out. Keep up the great work. And Glenn and I will be coming back. What's today? So many of you are, a lot of you that we brought over from our product group that are doing this for the first time. Tomorrow is day 5. And some of you are already feeling amazing. Some of you tomorrow, you're going to wake up and you're going to be like so happy with your results so far. But I just want to say this, and Jesse said it the other day, and I say this all the time, please do not compare your results to anyone else. Don't. And don't fixate on the scale. It's just a number, and we make it mean so many things. You just want to see how your body's responding, right? Go more. I love the jeans test. Put on your jeans. How are they feeling? Are they feeling a little looser? Are you feeling, just more comfortable in your skin? What are the non-scale victories? Focus on the non-scale victories. Are you thinking clearer? Are you sleeping better? Are you digesting better? Like all of those things, that's the beauty of this. Like, forget the scale. It's not about, skinny or, weight loss. It's weight wellness. It's health. It's vibrancy. So let's see. So I'll get to some of those questions, Deb, just because I can't read the whole comment there. So after I sign off, I'll get to those, and I'll get in touch and answer anything that I didn't answer. All right, so we'll be back. Glenn and I will be back at some point, maybe even tomorrow. I'm not sure. I have to ask him. Maybe he'll be back without me. But either way, stay strong if you're within the program now. If you're getting ready, if you're gearing up to start on the 28th, Jesse's going to be leading another group starting then. Jesse and Sean and will be participating as well. So if you're gearing up, then cool. Enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday if I don't talk to you guys. But in the meanwhile, just stay well. And thanks again for tuning in. And I'm just so grateful to be part of this awesome, awesome group of people. You guys are amazing. Love you all. Be well. And we'll talk soon.